In 1971, jazz rock was in full swing in France, and one band, Triode, gave a more flute-laced take on the style. And from their singular album,
On n'a pas fini d'avoir tout vu,
which translates to We Did Not Finish Having All Seen, the track Ibiza Flight. Okay, notice how the bass and is playing that ostinato pattern, and the guitar is doubling up on it, but like on a third or the fifth. Like I think on the third. I think, yeah, definitely, because I'm hearing E, G, G, yeah. Now that is some really supple bass work right there, and that flute just starting to kick in to give this. I'll say right off that this is one of the most, like, kind of aggressively flute-laced releases of the year. Actually, of the period, like. Okay, notice how so far we basically got flute interacting with, colliding with that bass line, and then some like hand percussion, and just now getting a little bit of clean guitars filtering in. I guess I can't go any further without introducing the flutist. Michel Edelin, who, wow, and he does look like he has been around a long time, judging by that photo. I don't know when that was taken, though. This seems to be his earliest credit, though. That must be a pretty recent photo. Yeah, I guess it is. I was thinking that photo may have been back in the day. I'm thinking he may have been as old as that one guy, was it 2 days ago? Yeah, the day or the day before yesterday, I found out that one of the musicians playing on one of the records I was doing had been born in like 1907 or something. Some really aggressive flute playing, yeah. It's its own thing. Like I don't have too many players to compare it to. Like like Roland Kirk, Ian Anderson. There were a few that really used the instrument quite aggressively. There were a lot of players during the period that made it kind of like one of their part of their like arsenal of woodwinds, but to like really zero in on it and use it like kind of like throughout a track is what makes this unique. And while it can be very easy to compare this to Jethro Tull, that would be a pretty lazy comparison. I'm hearing much more of a jazzy element that Tull rarely. Tull had like a couple of licks, a couple of like brief passages, but it would also be pretty lazy to just say it's like a mixture of Traffic and Tull. Okay, now I gotta say the percussion is really cooking up a storm here too. We have a drummer and a percussionist. The percussion, I think, what's really, and this is his only credit, Olav Estienne, yeah. And the drummer, the proper drummer, is Didier Hauck, who 3 credits according to his gods, and the one after this, 7 years after this, is that Not a Body record from 1978, which I covered a track off that many months ago, like last spring. Yeah, one of the early videos in this whole series. Now that was quite welcome introduction there. Yeah, some really fuzzy guitar work there, quite aggressive, by Pierre Chereze, who well, has a lot of 80s era credits anyway. Actually, later recorded solo. Played on played on a few albums by Edelin, yeah, Jacques Edelin, and was on the 1976 album by YS, yeah, Madame Les Frontières, yeah, one of the finer like French folk albums in the mid-70s. Oh, I love that tone, and I love the way he's like playing, like kind of like intermixing really kind of like scaling moments with like more sustain. Yeah, those bendy sustains and such, really kind of lyrical, kind of crying. Oh, I love that how he was going into that kind of like fractious chordal shard bit right there, that just kind of like, yeah, scratching. But I must draw attention once again to that bass line, that that just the flurry, windy quality of it all. Yeah, intermixed with that percussion. Yeah, really just energetic. Like it's a track that doesn't let up. And now things kind of go into the calm section, that kind of dark moment where you know that even though the storm has passed momentarily, something else is around the corner. And we are kind of down almost to the bass playing of Pierre Yves Sorin. This appears to be his earliest credit, but there would be many more throughout the decade. Mostly more of a stand-up bassist, playing in like trio, big band. Later played with the Cloud Bowling big band. Yeah. I didn't expect the track to change like this actually, because it had been just at that frantic pace for so long, and but then again, this is a welcome like change. Despite the detail on that, I think the bass kind of let it on. It was more just kind of like a rocking, swaying slowly type passage. love that interplay. Love how one's doubling up on the other, but just playing different notes. Adding kind of like harmonic density. And now notice the flute. Yeah, the flute, the guitar, and the bass. Yeah, they're all playing basically the same melodic line, just in different. Like the bass is playing the root notes, the tonic. One's playing the third. I think the guitar is playing the third. The flute is playing the fifths. Or no, maybe the flute was playing an octave. Was playing like one octave up on the notes that the guitar was hitting, like the thirds, while the bass handled the root. Yeah, that was Ibiza Flight by Triode from their 1971 Singular album. Well, there's only one album by Triode, so
On n'a pas fini d'avoir tout vu.
yeah, let's hear another track from the album. Blahsha. Okay, once again, for starters, it's like the bass was really asserting itself and forming the structure of the piece. This time, though, the flute is the first to step in and kind of add some layer. And just as I said that, then that fuzzy guitar like makes its. Okay, this one has a bit more of kind of like a pop structure to it, like a pop instrumental. I'm getting kind of a clean tone from the guitar coming out of the channel. It sounds kind of like a hollow body. Oh, I love the way that bass scaled way up, like higher than it had been. Yeah, those basses that I guess initially train on double bass and then have this unique way of like approaching what on the occasions when they do play an electric bass that's just very very different than people that simply trained on a bass guitar. These three, basically the flute and the bass and the percussionists are cooking up a real storm right here, and it's mostly just kind of in a single key too. And now the guitar is getting a little bit more choppy. It's starting to like close up cadence wise. It's like I think the guitar is like trying to take over now. It's going like more like it. What did I tell you? Oh, but it wouldn't be anything without that bass. So the way that like. So thick and full. What is it? It's probably the same guitar he was playing during those more kind of like jazzy, kind of like clean, where he was just playing kind of like triads, kind of in the background. But now he's got like the pedal turned on. I think like the fuzz pedal. It's like maybe like a kind of like a. I'm thinking a hollow body Gibson with a fuzz pedal. Because that's such a full sound for like a fuzz tone. Oh, that part where they start to like, where the it slowly goes from those really fast sections to where they start like like. Oh, now he's doing like a one note solo. Yeah, I actually had forgotten that there were moments where the guitarist really does take over. Still, this is one of the most flute-heavy releases of the period. In the realm of jazz rock, anyway. Now the bassist is really asserting himself. That's a really circular ostinato right there. Yeah, that was Blahsha by Triode, yeah. And yeah, the thing about the flute, it became quite commonplace during the 1970s, like as
Blahsha.
As a soloing instrument, but no translation on that title. But oftentimes, you would have like in a brass rock band, like Chicago anyway. You would have like a trumpeter, you would have like a trombonist, and you would have a saxist who would sometimes bring out like an oboe or a flute. And then, of course, there weren't many, aside from Ian Anderson, it was rare to have like just designated flute players in the band getting kind of like a solo, getting like maybe a few solos, or having like a lead line like in each track on an album, yeah. And there were other brass rock, quote unquote brass rock bands, of course, who focused more on saxophones, and and maybe had like two saxists and a trumpeter or something. Yeah. Some of the bands didn't use trombone. Come to think of it, slide trombone. Anyway. And then there's this that could like ostensibly be placed more kind of like in the traffic area of jazz rock if you were to just go by banal like Anglo-centric comparisons, but this was kind of just in a class of its own, really. When I think of really like heavy, like really aggressive flute playing in from this period, this album is one of the first things that comes to my mind. And this and that Racist O record showing that the jazz rock scene was very thriving, creative, and there were a few other bands too that I haven't even covered yet, like Moving Gelatin Plates. That France that as early as 1971, the whole convergence of jazz and rock was really up and going in France, and 71 being a pretty good year for France, as a matter of fact. Although I generally think it seems like it was kind of like an early dawn for France. Like a lot of great releases that year, like folk rock, hard rock, jazz rock, and then maybe a bit of a fallback until 1974 when things really blew up, and like the next 8 years or so were really great in that nation. Yeah. Anyway, for more rubies and sapphires from the Triode album, see the directory of albums by French artists linked in the description below for red hot tracks and purples from this very ruby-rich album, as well as many others from the time period, and on through the next 14 years or so of the French music scene, over like about 1,025 titles currently, so about 11 pages of things to work through. Don't try and take it all in one day, 1 month, or even a year. It takes a long time to work through the great musical riches of that era. Yeah. Like and subscribe, follow me on social media, and leave a comment if there are any observations you have about the 2 tracks we just heard, the layers, the interplay, the soloing, yeah, the harmonics of it all, yeah. Who had the best moment? The guitarist, the flutist, yeah, the bassist, the percussionist, yeah. Which was the most intense moments for you? Yeah. And until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most ear-traveled Trimax most, signing off.